Hello, and thank you for listening to this podcast, Newbies in the Fandom, a podcast that recaps, reviews, talks theories, and spoils some of pop culture's biggest franchises, from the small screen to the big screen. My name is Rachael, and my co-host is...
Moya.
We're talking Game of Thrones Season 8, Episode 4, The Last of the Starks. And I don't know about you, Moya, but I felt like this episode was old school Game of Thrones.
Yeah, I can see how you...
Yeah, there was plotting and scheming going on. Some of the political players were definitely playing the game. Again, it was really, really good to see characters like Varys, I always say his name wrong, Tyrion, and even Sansa putting her all her skills to use. But before we recap episode 4, let's talk what happened in episode 3, which was, of course, the long night.
Yes, the long night. It was the battle episode, huge, action sequences. We had dragons, we had fire, we had snowstorms, and
Death.
A lot of death.
So episode 4, The Last of the Starks, pretty much, it picks up the next day or the next morning where we have the big funeral scene. The shot is just looking over all the bodies that were lost in the Battle of the Long Night. And I got to tell you, 20 seconds into this episode, I started crying. Or not crying, getting teary.
Mm-hmm.
How about you?
Oh, yeah, definitely. When you see all the ones that we lost and, the characters were having their goodbyes, obviously that's going to hit home.
Yeah. Danny overlooking Jorah's body, sobbing on his chest.
Mm-hmm.
That was a very emotional moment for a lot of watchers. But of course, the next scene, I couldn't help but getting teary.
Yeah.
Why did you love that next moment?
Well, just, I think Sansa's been, quite stern and quite sort of straight-faced and everything. But you see her just absolutely break down in saying goodbye to Theon and slipping that little pendant or whatever it was, into his vest and stuff with the Stark wolf on it. Yeah, I was like, oh, R.I.P.
Yeah, there was a point there I was like, oh, I wish he did live, and he still had his junk, so they could have had wonderful little Kraken wolf babies.
Oh, you were shipping it,
just for a moment. But like we were talking a couple of episodes ago, it was that these two characters went through shit together under the same man. It was a beautiful moment. After Sansa says goodbye to Theon, Jon does his beautiful speech to thank the dead, to show respect to the dead.
That was excellent. That was a king moment. Yeah. That was a really, I think everybody who listened to that had to have absolute respect for Jon at that moment. I think that was
taking charge. I love how the speech pretty much mirrored the Night's Watch speech. They're the shields that guard the realm. Yeah, that was what Jon does best, is unifying people, and he was making, we are all one group of people. They all died for us.
Yeah, I think especially that was powerful because we know that it was very hard to get everybody together.
Yeah.
And it was all for this battle.
Yeah.
It was all for, that fight against the Night King, where there is the potential of, splitting apart now.
Yeah.
Where he needs everyone to stay together.
Yeah.
Because they've got to go on to the next fight.
Yeah.
Which is taking on Cersei.
Yeah.
At King's Landing. So I think that's also another...
That's a good reminder to the people, that we must be united.
Yeah, this is it. This is us now. We've been through this shit. We're going to keep going,
Jon makes his beautiful speech, and then we get a last look at some of the characters who died. Of course, Arya goes up to Beric, looks at him, appreciate all he has gone through to assure her survival, to be the Kingslayer. And Sam goes up to Ed and says goodbye to Ed, and of course, and I was like, they better do this. Jon walks up to Lady Mormont.
Yes, absolutely. And that's another moment, because I just loved her, and I was crying too, I was like, oh, my poor little bear, And, he's face to face with her, and that was his biggest, supporter. She was 100%
behind John.
behind him, even when he didn't want to be leader.
Yeah. She was the first one to call him king in the North.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that the director chose to give weight to that moment between Lady Mormont and John. We also saw, Grey Worm going out with his torch, Arya, Sansa, Sam, all the leaders going out and setting the piles alight. After such a somber occasion, we go into the Great Hall, where it's not quite a celebration yet, but it's paying respects to those who had died.
Yeah, they're all still looking a little depressed.
Yeah. The Hound even points out to Gendry, the bodies, you can still smell the bodies burning, and you're thinking about sex. Because he's looking around the Great Hall for Arya.
He might as well have been Tormund at that moment. Is the big woman still here? Like, is Arya around? Make yourself more obvious, can you? Oh, my God.
But the Hound has a point. It's like, you're alive.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
You survived.
Yeah, that's okay. But just don't be so gammon about it. Why you want to see her?
Yeah.
So Gendry, feeling a bit embarrassed that the Hound saw through him, and goes up close to the head table. And
he's really trying to sneak off to go find her,
Yeah.
And he gets spotted
by Daenerys Targaryen. I want to know who told who. Like, how did Dany find this out?
Well, she's got Varys on her side there, so, he knows everything about everything.
Yeah. It's just, I was like, how did this come about? Because I'm pretty sure Jon would have kept his mouth shut. Davos would have.
Mm.
Yeah. The whole hall pauses when Dany calls out Gendry's name. Everyone's like, oh shit, what's going on? And then Dany says, you're Robert Baratheon's bastard, and what does she do from there?
Well, that's the great thing about Dany. She, in one moment she can seem so, like, approachable, innocent. She's, got this lovely sort of smiling sort of face and stuff. But she turns on the ice in a split second, and you're like, oh shit. Yeah. And so I think that's him in that moment. Yeah. And it's everybody, really.
Yeah, that whole head table froze.
Yeah.
Dany was playing the game. She makes Gendry the Lord of Storm's End. I think that's what it's called. The seat of the Baratheon house, legitimized him, and now he's the Lord. Mm-hmm. They all cheer him on, and Tyrion said, that's a good idea. That's smart.
Yeah.
He's going to be loyal to you.
Yeah, exactly. So that's pretty much taking out a potential, opponent or, like, person who could claim, the throne.
Yeah.
And going and just turning the situation right around,
I was thinking, my thought was, well, isn't he technically now the Robert's successor?
Now that he's legitimate.
It's like he can contend for the throne.
Yeah, but I think that loyalty, was really what she was after, and I think because he had nothing.
Yeah. It's just so unfortunate that he's also loyal to a Stark.
Yeah.
So I don't think Dany's thought that through, but we'll talk about it later. So Dany and Tyrion talk about how that was such a great, great idea. And after the cheers to Gendry, the atmosphere in the Great Hall loosens up a little bit. Mm-hmm. We see that Jaime, Brienne, Tyrion and Pod are playing a game of Never Have I Ever, and we see that this is building up to a Jaime and Brienne romance. How do you feel about this pairing?
Well, you thought, oh God, it's had to happen. It's been building for a while, and I just, it was a funny love triangle. Yeah. And we all knew that she would pick Jaime. Yeah. She had no interest in Tormund. The poor bloke. Yeah. He tried.
He tried so hard.
And, like, what was he thinking? He was like, he's sort of trying to be charming and stuff, and he comes up, all right, which one of you has shit my pants? I'm like, really? You think that's gonna get her like you?
That's what she wants in a man.
That's how she looks at him every time he's around, as if she can smell shit. Yeah, so they're playing this game. It's a bit like Truth or Dare or whatever. Yeah. And you have to drink if it's a lie, or whatever the game is. But yeah, sort of the topic of past lovers has come up in terms of Brienne, and she didn't drink, and she was very put off by the question. You're a virgin. Because I think
Tyrion.
Hey,
Tyrion had no tact.
Come on, I think Tyrion, you could have I don't know what you were going for there,
but Jamie saw an inn, as it were, and jumped on it.
Literally.
Jumped on it, literally. While we're still with the Jamie, Brienne, Tyrion and pod, we also saw that Tormund got rejected.
Yes.
And his reaction was so funny.
He was heartbroken.
Crying to the Hound.
I mean, of all people, the Hound. You think you're going to get sympathy from the Hound?
No.
I don't think so.
But he recovered well from the rejection. Sorry, we've jumped ahead a little bit, so we'll go back. After the toast of Gendry, the atmosphere livens up a little bit. Tormund is trying to get Jon drunk. He wants to scull a cup, and he's got the wildlings and his family surrounding him, but he can't do it. And Tormund just drinks and cheers and says, this is, Jon Snow, he's an amazing bastard. Dany toasts Arya, the hero of Winterfell. Everyone cheers. And then, and I think this is really important, there was a look shared between Jon and Dany that Sansa saw. Shipping aside, that was clearly jealousy, wasn't it?
Yeah. Oh, I think anything to do with Jon and Dany, Sansa is very honed in. Yeah. She's she keeps her cards close to her sort of chest and everything, as to her reasoning and stuff. But I think she's very much trying to keep him as a Stark, keep him on that side, not lose him to Dany. Very much so, and that comes up again later on
as well. Yeah, Sansa really wants to keep her family together. Be it it was a look, she didn't like it,
and it's personal and it's political.
Yeah, she wants the North, and if Jon and Dany are still knocking boots, that's bad for the North and their independence.
Exactly.
Yeah. So after Sansa gets up and leave, Jon and Dany share a look, and we're like, oh my God, Jon Snow might be still digging his aunt. But everyone's very drunk though. So we'll forgive him for this moment.
Well, there's, while Tormund was, saying all these wonderful things about Jon, he's so brave and he came back to life and yada yada, and you can see Dany is threatened definitely by that. And this keeps coming up. Yeah, how threatened she is. Yeah, and the way that she reacts to those threats. I mean, with him, it's hard because on one hand she loves him. Yeah, but on the other hand, he's a huge threat to her. And just the look, just by a look, she can communicate that.
People give Emilia Clarke shit for her acting, but she is conveying what she is thinking in just simple facial expressions. I love that scene where Jon is getting all the praise and she's just looking around the Great Hall and realizing that she doesn't have an alliance in the North.
Exactly. The music kind of changes and I don't know, maybe they slow it down or something. Yeah. And it's like she's looking around and it's almost like she's surrounded by enemies.
Yeah, that's what it felt like. And the other character that clocked on that, of course, was Varys. Because when Dany is looking over the hall and seeing and the music is changing, the camera goes from Dany's profile to looking straight at him. So he's watching her watching this. You can see that he's a little shaky on his alliance earlier on. Before we leave the Great Hall celebrations, we have a couple of more talks between characters. As we said earlier on, Jamie and Brienne hook up. Tormund's heartbroken. And then we have another scene, another reunion I've been hanging out for since episode 2, which was Sansa and the Hound.
Yes, and it was really sweet. And he called her Little Bird as well.
A callback.
And she said, that was a long time ago. Just so much has happened. But she lays her hand on his hand. I think that was just to say thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
he likes to push people away, but for some reason he lets those Stark girls get to him.
Yeah. I love it.
It's really sweet.
I'll be sad if he goes, but he's going protecting one of the Stark girls.
Yeah.
I love this scene and I wanted this reunion, but the only thing I didn't like about it is that Sansa is a victim of abuse and rape, and it sounded like she was saying, oh, it's okay that those horrible things happened to me, or else I wouldn't become the person that I am today. And it's just, I don't know, it's just sat wrong with me.
Yeah, I don't think it doesn't take away from everything that sort of happened, but I think it's an acknowledgement of all this, crap happened. And I had to get through it. Yeah. And in doing so, I had to become tougher. Yeah. And, to where I am now. Yeah. So,
and I think she's also saying, what's happened to me isn't your fault. Yeah.
Yeah.
We follow Gendry out of the Great Hall. He is just full of energy. He's looking for his lady love, Lady Stark, as all Baratheon men do. He's definitely Robert Baratheon's son, falling in love with a Stark girl who shoots him down.
Yeah. Oh, and I felt so much for him, and he's just, overcome, with everything that's happened, and he declares his love, like literally, I love you, and, gets down on one knee and, will you marry me? Will you
be my lady?
Be my lady, And I had a feeling she would say no, because I just don't feel like she's the marrying and settling down type. Well, I mean, at the moment anyway.
Well, it's a callback to season 1. That's not me.
Exactly. Yeah. And the funny thing is, she was always a lady, but she wasn't really. Yeah. But he is now a lord, but he never was really.
Yeah.
So they're both sort of in the same boat, and I felt like, if Arya really wanted to, she could say yes and make it work.
Yeah.
They could just run off together and like not live as, Lord and Lady. They could just be
Arya and Gendry
if they chose. Yeah. But I think she's still got, things on her list, so to speak.
Yeah.
Just unfinished business.
Yeah.
Maybe once it's all done and stuff, they might get back together.
I reckon if it could be something down the line, because she's got her list, but she's also got to heal from the horror that she's went through. Let's not sugarcoat it. Arya Stark is a mass murderer.
Yeah.
Yeah. There is trauma. She's got to work on herself. So, I mean, it's so sweet in that moment. He was like, I finally deserve Arya. Like, I'm on the same level as her. We're both lords and ladies, so it just makes sense that we're going to be together. So I was happy that the showrunners decided to go this way too. I would have thought it would be too much of a fairy tale if it was. And happily ever after. After the party has wind down, we get some intimate moments with some of our characters. Jamie, so awkward.
She's supposed to be all like inexperienced, and he's supposed to like be the sort of dashing knight and stuff, but he was so awkward.
It's like, it's hot in here.
It's like, dude, that totally not smooth, like, honestly.
Well, he's only had sex with one woman, and
and that's his sister, who's known for his whole life.
Yeah, so, he really hasn't gotten another woman before, because, those two were knocking boots when they were teenagers. He had no game. I read somewhere that the actors when they read that part of the script. The actress that plays Brianna, Gwendolyn Christie, sent a vomit emoji to Jamie's actor, and he just sent back a laughing one. So, gotta love it. And then Danny and John. John's in his room. Looks like he has a bit of a headache from drinking too much.
Mm-hmm.
Danny strolls into the room on a mission.
Mm-hmm. I think that mission is, like, we need to have that conversation, but still I've got the hops for you.
Yeah.
So. But he shuts her down, really, because he can't get over the fact that, that's his aunt.
Well, he does kiss, and then, he realises. What is interesting, though, is Danny said, "I love you" for the first time to Jon Snow.
Oh.
And Jon Snow didn't say, "I love you" back. He kissed her.
Yep. The old, not say it, but kiss you, yeah.
So it's just like, okay, that's great. I'm just going to kiss you. And then they get into the talk of, are you going to tell anybody? Can you not tell people that we're related so we can keep having sex? And John's like, no.
But not only that, can you not tell anyone? Because then, that legitimizes his claim to the throne. Even more so, and like I say, she's very threatened.
Very threatened. I especially, look, I'm not going to deny it, I'm a big Sansa fan. I love it how Danny said, you can't tell Sansa or she will put you on the throne.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, she won't stop.
And he's all like, no, I got to tell my family.
Okay.
I have to tell Sansa, Arya, and Bran. I'm like, okay, like, you make that decision, that I just knew it was going to go bad.
Yeah, and John's going, I support you, I bent the knee to you, I'm loyal to you. How can I make this work? And Danny's like, well, I just told you.
Yeah.
Do not tell your fucking sisters, and tell Sam and Bran to keep their mouths shut.
Yeah.
And he's like, I can't do it. And I think there were times throughout that speech or that exchange that John was really noticing how the crown was way more important to her. Really, the relationship came second. It wasn't about, I want to be with you. It was more, I need to be with you so no one else knows that you are who you are.
Yeah, yeah. She's becoming such a worry for me because I've always, liked her as a character.
Yeah.
But now when we're getting so close to it and these sort of
warning red flags are coming up.
Red flags, yeah, and I'm going, God, this is gonna go bad. She's gonna lose it or something.
Because this is a discussion going on in the fandom at the moment, people are like, Dany's arc, this Mad Queen arc, has absolutely come from nowhere, and it's character assassination. Well, there's another side of the fandom that's going, no, it's always been there. The only reason why people are noticing now is because Dany is now against the good characters that we know.
Yeah.
Against the Starks, and we've seen their morals and loyalty, and against Dany's. Because when you look at it, she has done some very bad things.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
She's willing to kill and to, take over places, and she's got a sort of iron will about her.
Yeah.
And always did. But, yeah, it's definitely coming to the forefront.
It's not so morally in a grey area anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Worry that it's going to tip her over the edge, which I wouldn't like to see, because we've been rooting for her the whole time.
I stopped in season 2.
In season 2, why was that?
Just I couldn't stand her entitlement, and it was the one scene in season 2 where she locks the handmaiden and the king in the vault alive, and they're screaming.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, she has double crossed you. But be just and cut their head off, not make them suffer. Let's have a court session. What is it? Let's.
Yeah, you know what? I think it just proves how far society has come, where we have laws and we have sort of a system that is supposed to, anyway, be fair and just and not cruel and not inhumane and sort of all these things. Where at that time it was like, you killed my brother, I'm gonna fucking kill your whole family, and that seemed like rational. That seemed, you know.
And I mean, a lot of people have said it because Dani is an amazing character. It's like she's got dragons. She came up from, a pauper, and she was owning it. A lot of people got rose-colored glasses with that, not realizing, she wasn't being just. She was, I think, for me personally, being a tyrant.
I think she has been sort of influenced by, her own journey. Her journey has been like mythical. Involving magic and
Prophecy.
walking through fire, prophecies, dragons. She feels like she has a higher calling,
A destiny, and she says that.
Destiny, and so I think that's where a lot of the entitlement comes from. She just thinks it's meant to be.
And that's going to be her downfall.
Yeah, I think it might, because a lot of the rest of the characters are living in the grittiness of reality, whereas she has had this magical journey. Don't know how that's going to play out.
I think this episode is definitely the start of Dani's fall. So the next day, after everyone slept it off, how many days do you think it's been after the big battle that this War Council meeting has had? 2 or 3 days at the most.
Yeah.
Right. And Dani's already talking about marching the troops down.
Well, you never know with the time, time and thing. Like, I would say the burning of the pyres, that's probably maybe, 1 or 2 days after the battle, because you need to have time to be able to clean up and organise to that extent. So could be a week.
Oh, it could be a week, considering that some of the bodies were pretty blue. So yeah, we'll say a week. A week after battle, they're talking about going down to Cersei. We find out that half the forces are left, and Dani makes a suggestion, like, we need to go now. We need to get Cersei, remove her root and stem. And she's pretty much implying that she's going to go with her dragons and burn the city down. And you can see the War Council freeze.
Especially, Tyrion and Varys and everything. I think that sort of hit them. And, they've just come through this battle. Everyone's so tired, I think one of the dragons is still recovering, and it's don't know if that's a good decision to go straight away. You need to sort of recover your strength and everything. And that's what Sansa suggests. And Dani, she pretty much shuts that down.
I thought it was a good suggestion.
But, you don't want to leave it too long. How long is too long? You need to sustain your momentum as well. Otherwise the troops are going to be like, nah, it's been a while. I've already grown through shit. I don't want to do it again. I'm just going to go and be a farmer or something like that.
So they should have maybe a week more. But back to, Dani going with fire and blood. Tyrion and Varys, tried to talk her down a little bit, but she didn't listen. She gave Emilia Clarke doing some good acting. No. But Jon said, you know what, why don't we cut off the food supply and we surround the city? Isn't that better? Starve Cersei out, let the people turn on her.
I when he said that, I thought, yeah, okay, that's better than going in and just killing everyone. But that could also turn on them as well. They could go, Cersei's inside, so she is able to talk to the people in whatever way. And if she sends out the message, you're starving because these guys are cutting off your food, then that just galvanizes them to support Cersei. So that could backfire.
Well, 2 plans were offered on the table. She was going to go fire and blood style, but she Jon Snow gave puppy eyes and she went with the other plan. Dany and Sansa have a bit of a pissing contest, trying to pull who's got the most power in the room. Jon steps in between and says, we're going to follow whatever you say, Dany, because you are our queen. And the Stark family did not like Jon's input there.
But I think that was important for him to do, to prove to Dany, I'm
team you.
I'm standing behind my word of you're our queen.
Yeah.
For him to say that in front of everyone.
Yeah.
And then Sansa and Arya's like, can we have a word?
I like how Arya just walks in front of him. A moment of your time,
it's
like brother.
It's like family meeting now
in the Godswoods. Let's go. And so Starks in the Godswoods. This is where the title of the episode comes from. The last of the Starks. Arya says, "Yeah, your queen's great. She came. We needed her. That's no denying that. But this is the facts. We're your family, and we think." Her as a queen is a bad idea. Is that what you got from it?
I think actually Arya was more middle ground.
Yeah, she definitely was.
Sansa was definitely not into it.
She said, "I won't kneel."
Yeah. Jon, he's still sort of in love with Dany, and he's
But he hasn't said it.
He hasn't said it, but it's there. But I think what's stopping him is this power struggle thing.
Yeah.
If that hadn't come up, it would be over and done with. He'd be all behind her. Yeah. But he was like, we needed her. I had to do it. Blah blah blah. Yeah. It was because of her. We had a good shot at winning this battle. Yeah. And so Arya was the middle ground in saying, yeah, you're right. We did need her. Yeah. But now.
She's not good. She's not good for the North.
Yeah, well, definitely. She pretty much wants the North included in her thing. She's not considering any sort of independence. Yeah. Which I think the Starks are really. I think they're going to end up fighting for that. Yeah. Or if not them, the North. In general, because I believe that's what they've been doing. In the past, what they've always wanted.
I think this episode is also setting that up too. I think from this conversation and what happens throughout the episode, Sansa's actually building up an alliance for another army. Mm. So whoever wins out of Cersei and Dany, they just clean up the rest of that and put Jon on the throne. Yeah. So I was watching this episode with my dad. He has been looking forward to this episode for a while. The Stark girls finding out about Jon's parentage. Mm-hmm.
But they didn't show us. I was like, this family scene was the scene that I wanted. Yeah. This is the one that I was really going, just give me that,
Yeah. That's all I want.
Yeah, that's all I want is one little, family scene where everything's coming out and, all
Truth
that.
is told. And then, like when Luke Skywalker found out Han Solo died, they cut to the next scene. My dad jumped up and screamed, "What? Fuck! That's so anticlimactic!" It was disappointing, but we see their reactions later on in the episode. But finally, the cat's out of the bag. I love it how Jon makes them swear.
He might as well have been like, pinky swear. Pinky swear, you're not going to tell anyone. Yeah. Everyone spit in their hands and shake.
Oh, freaking love it. I loved Sansa's hesitation. She's like, I swear.
Yeah. She probably had her fingers crossed behind her back there.
And it's pretty much what Daddy said, like, the night before, your sister will fight for you to be on the throne. And she was right.
Yeah. Oh. And it went like Chinese bloody whispers. I was like, oh, you can't tell anyone. No. Let me tell you this, but you can't tell anyone.
I love it. And we'll get to that, yeah. The Chinese whispers of the biggest non-secret in Westeros. I was disappointed that we didn't get to see the girls' reactions to this vital piece of news.
Yeah.
And it looked like it was also the last time the Starks were together.
I know. I'm like, what? This is. I was not comfortable with when he left because he was. It made you feel like he was leaving behind everyone who he loved and who was really, on his side and who really cared about him and everything. And because you got him, saying goodbye to them, and Tormund and
Tormund
Sam.
to Gillian, yeah. But he never said goodbye to his family. And, the Starks are the pack survive, and they're all just going lone wolf on this whole thing.
Yep. Never a good sign. We've been fighting for them to be together this whole series of a show.
Yeah. as soon as the second episode happens, it's like, oh, when are the Starks getting back together?
Yeah.
And they're fucking, so disappointed. They're not treating them well. And John's not treating Ghost well either.
Yeah, and people have said, he didn't say goodbye to Ghost. They just looked at each other. But I'm like, yeah, but he probably already told Ghost. Like, I feel like they have a, obviously a strong bond and connection where...
yeah, but we need to see that, though.
well, even just communicated in a look like, I'm going.
Yeah. And you're going back north.
And Ghost just knows. Yeah. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if off screen he was like, okay, Ghost, sit down, I've got to tell you something.
Busted up he was too. He looked like he had the biggest scar on him.
And he's like ear and everything. Oh my god, poor Ghost.
What I really hope that this wasn't the end of the story arcs for Tormund, Sam and Gilly.
I know.
Because that feels so empty and unsatisfying.
I think we'll see Tormund again, maybe. Because he said something, hope we see each other again, or...
Maybe we will or something.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, I can't imagine this is the end of Sam's journey with this story.
Mm-hmm.
Well, as I said before, I think, Sansa is building up another force and the wildlings are still there. And Sam is the Lord of Horn Hill. So that's 2 armies. Plus, she's got another couple, her mother's family side. So hopefully the remaining of the Stark forces or this new army comes down. But that's just me speculating. That's what I want. So after the Starks have their little disappointing confession session, we cut to a scene of Jaime, Bronn and Tyrion in a pub. What did you think of this scene? I was kind of bored.
Well, I knew Bronn would have to show up at some point, and they played it really well because you still felt that friendship.
Yeah.
But you still thought he might kill them anyway.
Yeah.
Like,
you know what I felt it was? Is like he was really upset that he had to do this.
yeah, exactly. He would do it, but he wouldn't be happy about it.
It's like, look, I've thought about it, and you've got to give me a better castle, okay?
Exactly.
So you just don't die.
Yeah.
And he tells them, don't either of you fucking die. Because I don't want to do it.
Yeah, exactly.
No, you're right. It was a good scene, but I found it, I don't know. I was like, there's more interesting things happening. We're scheming again.
Yeah, I think, well, you can't start off something, you can't put Bronn into play and not bring him back and, Yeah. So maybe that still comes into play later, I don't know.
I reckon so. He needed to
There's got to be some reason that's happening.
Yeah, that he's there. After Jaime, Bronn and Tyrion, the Hound and Arya team up. And they're both on a mission.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's a little bit foreshadowing there when the Hound says, are you going to kill me? Are you going to rob me if I get injured? I think it was.
Oh, no. Are you going to leave me for dead again?
Yeah.
She goes, yeah, probably. And he just smiles,
I think... From that, I think the Hound might die killing his brother.
Well, that's where I think he's on a mission. I think he's going to go, take on his brother and he pretty much acknowledges, I'm probably not coming back.
Yeah.
I mean, because like, look at the guy. But I hope he wins. You know, I really like. He's one of those sort of secondary characters that you just love. Like I always really enjoyed him. And then when he disappeared and stuff, I was like, oh. But when he came back, I was very, very happy. You know, so I hope he survives.
I really did enjoy his redemption arc. It was beautiful.
But you know, it wasn't that much of a redemption because there was always, you know,
Goodness.
of
Yeah, you're right.
And he still hides it at the, you know, now he tries to, but you know, it's like the Stark girls just see right through him. Like, yeah, we know you're a big softie, like for us anyway.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, from Arya and the Hound, Dany goes and checks out her dragons, and Rachael's got a big-ass hole in his wing, but he can sort of fly, and, you know, Dany's a bit happy about that. So Dany flies her dragons that do a final whoosh around Winterfell. Sansa Stark is looking over at the dragons at her favourite spot. And I want to know, so has a day passed since the girls got told? Because
I feel like
yeah, so it cuts to Jaime and Tyrion's night scene.
Yeah.
So it's the next day. So Sansa's still clearly shooken. Arya's like, I'm gonna go kill Cersei.
Yeah.
And Sansa's pretty pale about some facts.
But I think, you know, that she couldn't have heard a better thing in her life. I think, you know, she's probably really excited about this.
Yeah.
Because it's what she wanted. She wants him in power. She doesn't want Dany to be queen.
Yeah.
She wants Jon to be king. And so she just can't really contain herself. I was like, he told you not. He's like, he made you swear. Nope, you have to, like.
I think she
on,
was
woman.
in that moment really considering, like, she was, do I tell Tyrion in this moment and fuck, there's a lot of shit that's going to come with it, or do I keep silent?
See, I don't think she had that much hesitation. I feel like she heard what she, like, you know, was excited about and wanted to hear, and she wants to then use that and put that into play. So that's why she told Tyrion, of all people.
Yeah.
You know?
I would thought she was hesitant in telling him because that might stuff up a play later on. Because she's not 100% certain about Tyrion's loyalties. She knows there's doubts. But, yeah, I think she was going to do something about the information. The fact that Tyrion came there and what's going on, and she's like, well, I have to tell him the truth. And
no, girl, you can shut your mouth. Like, come on.
She saw her.
You pinky swore. You might as well.
People are calling her a manipulative bitch on the internet because she didn't keep a promise. And I was going, yes, she is, because she's making sure her family lives.
That's how she's now survived, and that's how she's now, you know, gotten so powerful, is because she's using her brain. Like, that's all she's got.
Yeah.
So she learnt a lot from Littlefinger. Yeah. And now she's using it.
Yep.
But girl, you promised your brother, like, you swore, you know, at least, like,
you could see it. It's like, if Jon's on the throne, our family is safe. This is the perfect scenario.
But it was like, it was comical because Jon is just like, swear to me, don't tell no one. And she turns around and she tells Tyrion, but don't tell no one. Tyrion tells Varys, don't tell no one. Varys is like, fuck you, I'm telling everyone.
Yeah.
And I'm like, God.
Breaking news.
Yeah.
Sansa spills the biggest secret in the country. What if there was someone better? And Tyrion does a head tilt. Yes, go on. And then we cut to a next scene, which was Jon saying goodbye to all his friends. So we head south. We see Daenerys Targaryen's ships, the Red Dragon on a black sail. We see Missandei and Grey Worm hold hands and share a moment. And then we go down into the ship where, I don't know, I think Tyrion started hard drinking again.
Yeah, well, he's stressed out. Like, this is stressful.
And he's like, for 20 years, you know, the bullshit we've been through the last 20 years is because a Stark woman didn't love Robert Baratheon.
Yeah.
Yep, this is it. And Varys is just, I can't believe this.
Yeah, see, I can appreciate Varys as a character even more now because he has, you know, explained exactly where he's coming from. He might be a schemer and he might be, you know, sort of behind the scenes, sort of puppeteering a little, gossiping, yada yada. But it's because, you know, he has noble intentions. He's pretty much one of the main people who is sort of considering just the people.
Yeah.
Not so much caring about who's on the throne, allegiances, power and stuff, even though it seems like that. He's just, you know, what is going to be the best for the people.
Yeah. And Tyrion said it a couple of seasons ago that, you know, he thinks that Varys is one of the only people in the world that doesn't want the throne. Mm. Yeah. And he shows that a lot in this episode. Yeah. Lord Varys says, how many people know? Tyrion says there's 8 of us. And then he says, well, that's no longer a secret. Fair game.
Yeah, fair game. I was like, dude.
So we go from the 2 kingmakers in the ship discussing this new information. Before we go on, Tyrion offers the suggestion of marriage. Mm-hmm. And I think Varys was a mouthpiece from the writers to the audience. Jon Snow was born a Stark. Do you think he'll be into incest? Mm. So he's just like, it's not going to happen. His morals are going to stop him from doing that.
But, you know, it would solve a lot of problems. It really would.
Yeah. It would be the easy solution, the easiest, but the writers have just said he's not going to dig it.
No more fucking your aunt. So.
But maybe your cousin. So we go from the 2 schemers back out to the ship. Dany's looking royal, regal, ready to kick ass, flying with her baby dragons. When tragedy strikes out of fucking nowhere.
I screamed. That first spear, you know, I don't even know if you can call it a spear. It was a bloody missile.
Yeah.
Straight in the chest. I was like, turn around. Everybody turn the fuck around. Like, get out of there.
It was such a shock because the music was majestic and triumphant. And then...
And I was like, you are really not... How can you kill another dragon, like, right now?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
And... Like, one arrow would have been all right, you know.
Could have survived
but the next one goes through the throat and just...
It's right in the chest.
Right, yeah, and I was like, oh.
Just falls to the ground. And Euron Greyjoy makes good use of...
that fucking bastard.
Because I was like, this is a world that doesn't have cannons, and then all of a sudden they've got this great naval advantage. So if Yara comes, obviously she's going to come in the next 2 episodes. They've fucking got no chance if he's got those on his ship.
Yeah, well, how are they going to combat it, you know?
Yep. And I have a feeling Dany's not going to risk her dragons knowing that Euron's fleet is armed with, ballistas.
Yeah.
They cause some pretty big damage. Anyway, after we lose another dragon and Daenerys' fleet gets obliterated by Euron, we go to a scene with the survivors of the attack winding up on a beach. Tyrion, Varys, and Grey Worm, who is searching the beach for Missandei, but he can't find Missandei. She's been lost to the ocean. We then cut to Euron and Cersei in King's Landing. We see that the small folk are pouring into the city. We'll talk about this.
Yeah, that's pretty much, you know, she's telling them, oh, come in, we'll protect you. but really it's a human shield.
Yeah.
It's a barrier between her and, you know, that army, and her betting that, you know, if you come through, you'll be killing a whole bunch of innocents.
Yeah.
Do it if you want, but, you know.
But she doesn't give a shit.
Yeah, she really doesn't. Come on. And, so a later discussion really emphasizes that fact.
Yeah. Oh, fuck, I love Lena Headey. She's not in it much, but fuck, she is great to watch acting. Yeah. She is just so good. I love her in the end scene, and she doesn't even do much. She just looks. And for some strange reason, I just love Euron as well.
Yeah.
Getting on his hands and knees, proposing a baby, you say. Joyous, he actually looks like he's in love with this chick.
Yeah, yep. I mean, whenever he's not looking at her directly, she starts to frown again, which I think is funny. Like, she's like, yes, yeah, it's your baby, blah, blah, blah. He looks away and she's like, fucking hell. Yeah, this fucking idiot. I'm stuck with him.
So he's happy, he's buying into, you know, this is his kid and the queen sort of loves me. And we find out that Cersei, yes, is using the small folk as human shields. And then her and Euron exit the scene, but not before passing the chained hands of Missandei. And what Cersei says to her really makes that scene, makes me sad for Missandei. She says so much for the breaker of chains.
While, you know, her best friend, you know, is chained
as a slave again, which makes the whole end scene absolutely tragic. But we're jumping a little bit ahead. Dany is furious that she's just lost her dragons and lost a little bit of her fleet. She's ready, fire and blood. I'm not going to wait for Jon and his army to do this. We're going now. And Varys pretty much tells her, like, I'm straight up going to betray you if you don't change your mind. And he says, don't become the thing that you've struggled most with.
Yeah. Exactly. You know, she's called herself breaker of chains and all this sort of thing. But she's got it, she's playing it right on the edge. Like, she could go either way. And if she does, you know, fall to her sort of baser instincts of, you know, vengeance and everything, she will turn into the thing that she's been fighting against. And she sort of, I'm not sure that she really takes that into consideration. Like, I don't think she really sees it.
That she's on this line.
That she's,
Yeah. Well, she says
she's very close.
She says, this is my destiny.
Yeah.
Like, this is what I'm supposed to do. There is no fine line. This is a justifiable reason.
Yeah.
They've got my crown. They've now got my best friend. Let's do this.
And in that moment, she's willing to kill all those innocents.
She said, yeah.
And so, just Dany, come on. Like, it's so disheartening.
She says, like, something, I've given Cersei her chance, and now the people are going to see how merciful Daenerys Targaryen was before the sky fell on them. What is that?
Yeah. So she concedes, like, tiny a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, to say, you know, yeah, I'll spare him for now.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's not a genuine, that would be bad if I, you know, it's just full vengeance mode. Because, you know, she lost her
dragon.
Yeah, dragon, which is her child.
Yeah.
So.
And her best friend. Do you think, I mean, I understand that she's upset, but do you think she's using the capture of Missandei and the death of Rachael,
yeah.
as an excuse to do the burning? Because she wanted to do that in the start. There's no denying it.
Yeah.
Or that's just pushed her. She said fuck it now.
Yeah, I think it's just pushed her because those are two of the most meaningful characters to her. Yeah. Her child. Yeah. And she's got a mother's love for those dragons. And her best friend. Somebody who has been, behind her and beside her.
And loyal.
And loyal as F. Yeah, those two definitely.
Yeah, Dany's lost a lot in the space of 2 weeks. Dany pretty much says what her plan is. Tyrion and Varys have another conversation, and Varys is upfront with Tyrion. She's gone. We can't save her. Tyrion's going to die on his hill that Dany is a good person if she's got the right advisors around her.
I think Tyrion's interesting because he's behind her. He says, I believe in her.
Yeah.
He reiterates that.
Yeah.
And I really do think he does. But he also, part of him is also scared of her.
Yeah. Something that Sansa pointed out earlier.
Yeah. And so that fear is the only, one thing that's in the back of his mind that could turn him against Dany.
Yeah.
So if she keeps, waving these red flags like mad, he's gonna have no choice but to go against her, I think.
Yeah.
Because in the end, I think Tyrion is another one who wants the best for the people.
Yeah.
And all things are pointing to Jon being the best leader.
Yeah. And I've liked it throughout this episode where people have said Jon won't want the throne. And Jon, I think, said it. He doesn't want it. But everyone's saying you don't have a choice.
Yeah. And Varys points out maybe that's the best person for the throne.
Yeah.
Is someone who doesn't want it.
Yeah.
He's not, power hungry. He's not vicious. He's fair. He's, even-minded and everything.
Yeah.
So
sees two sides. Yeah. Tyrion again says, "Why don't we marry them?" But Varys said she's too strong-willed. So that's really killing that.
And would she want to share her power? Yeah. And especially because she's a woman and he's a man, so if they got married, he would still have more power than her.
Yeah, which sucks, but that's, as Varys said, that's how it is. That's the important thing. Varys pretty much walks out of the room, and I reckon he's making his way north again, or he's going to find a northern army and.
Oh, he's got his plans.
Yeah, he knows what he wants to do. He's said, "Bye, brother. You take care of that.
Yeah,
I'm booking it."
Yeah.
We head on back to Winterfell, where Sansa has just received a raven. Jaime sees this and follows Sansa and Brienne. We just hear a tail end of what's going on, what was in the scroll. Jaime asks what's going on, and Brienne just...
Oh, the attack on the ships and stuff. Yeah.
And they've lost her. And Dany's odds aren't in her favour as much anymore. Sansa says, "I wanted to be there when they executed your sister, but it looks like it's not going to happen now." Which, yeah.
And I think that's all of them acknowledging, we've seen Dany firsthand. We know if that's happened, she is going to burn the fuck out of Cersei.
Yeah. That fact hits Jaime. Everyone there, yeah, that's right. We know what comes next. If you've just suffered a loss like that, what else are you going to do? And in the very next scene, we see Jaime and Brienne again in their room, and Jaime leaves Brienne.
Yeah.
To either go kill his sister or die beside her.
And he's not clear on what, but he just knows he has to...
He has to be there.
Yeah.
And Brienne says she's going to burn that place to the ground.
And it's a really, really sort of touching scene because Brienne is begging, like, don't leave, please, because, just stay with me. Like, I care about you. I love you. You don't need her. You're better than that. But he's still got that unfinished business with Cersei, be that, going to help her or going to kill her.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll wait and see what happens, which one it is. Yeah.
It was a good scene. Great acting. Just the pain in both of the actors' faces about this fact.
Yeah.
Oh, but that's another one of our major characters heading back south. So everyone's now gone from the north and moving to King's Landing. And then we come to the final scene. Negotiations outside of the city. Cersei, Euron are looking from the ramparts, I think. And Missandei is there in chains. Dany, Grey Worm, and Tyrion with a little small force of Unsullied are there. And what happens, Moy?
Yeah, so they march up to the gates, and just the sheer size of it hit me. Like, they've got only a small force, and Dany's just standing there sort of in the middle of everything. No dragon there because she can't risk that. And, Tyrion, it's his job as the hand to go and negotiate and declare that, Dany says Cersei's got to surrender. And Qyburn, comes out on Cersei's side and basically says the same thing. And so they have this kind of nice back and forth of like, so you're going to surrender, aren't you? And he goes, no, you're going to surrender, aren't you? They're having this nice little conversation. But Tyrion must be getting so frustrated. No wonder he's turning to drinking because he's trying his hardest to keep everything together, to keep from, everything turning to shit. No wonder he's fucking drinking.
I like it how Qyburn's just so calm, cool and collective. Tyrion says to him, I don't want to hear the screams of children burning. And Qyburn's like, yes, it's pretty terrible. And Tyrion's like, I don't want to hear that. Like, help me.
Yeah, exactly. But Qyburn, we know he's a bit of a weirdo. And I don't think he really cares either. He's like, yeah, it's unpleasant. Like it's like some cricket in the room or something. Like he's heard it before, and I don't like it. But it's just.
But Tyrion could see in that moment that he's not budging, so he has to get up and plead to his sister. And Lena Headey just raises her hand, and a whole bunch of arrows gets pointed at him. Tyrion takes a breath but keeps on walking.
And I think that's the second time he's faced her and said, "Look, here I am. Kill me if you want. But we're gonna have this talk." And she can't do it. No matter how much she has hated on him and treated him like shit and looked down at him and, blames him for her mother's death and everything. And he killed their father too, so, but she just can't do it.
Because Cersei is a family person. I love that. I absolutely loved it. I couldn't stop laughing. It's just like, you little shit. I want to kill you, but I can't. So Tyrion tries to, approaches Cersei's maternal side. I know you're a good person. You loved your kids. You love your child in you. And I'm like, wouldn't Euron be thinking, how does he know that she's pregnant?
Yeah.
Like, I just found out today. These guys just came.
I don't think he's that bright.
Yeah. But I was just thinking she just acknowledged that in front of him. Bizarre. Cersei doesn't budge at all.
She wavers though. Like
she doesn't shoot him.
Yeah, well, exactly. That's all you can ask. But she does sort of turn her head a little because she's sort of tearing up at the memory of her kids and everything. But it's still a no, and she's still, steadfast in this. No, Dany's going to surrender. I'm keeping my throne. If she doesn't, I'm going to kill this girl over here.
Yeah. And I don't know what it was, but when she turned and just put her arm, I don't know what it was. It was just calm, collective. It's just like, this is a fact. And I don't know if Cersei was feeling bad in that moment, but there was a strange softness to it. I don't know what it was.
Yeah, I also liked the reaction of Dany in hearing about Cersei loving her kids and everything and losing her kids because Dany's just lost
And
hers.
Cersei has done just as horrible things at the loss of her children.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was good reaction, good acting all around. I don't know how people can diss Emilia Clarke. I think she's got it.
I think she's definitely stepped it up a notch this season.
Oh, hell.
And the other thing I want to point out is Grey Worm this whole time. He is just absolutely tense. You know, that's the love of his life up there.
The only thing he's scared of is being in a world without Missandei.
Exactly. So it was heartbreaking.
And Grey Worm's character the last couple of episodes, seeing this fear, to see more emotions instead of a stoic, like last episode he lost half of his men, half of his culture, half of his brothers, and now I think he's just going to snap as much as Dany after this happens.
Yeah. So, take us through the last...
Cersei says if you have any last words, this is your chance. Missandei is loyal to the end and pretty much tells Dany what she has to do. This is fuck them.
Yeah.
Dracarys.
I was half expecting like Drogon to show up somewhere behind them and like, you know.
And the Mountain just takes out his massive sword and, like Ned, loses her head.
I'm glad that they
it wasn't a clear
wasn't
focus.
a close up.
Yeah.
It was from afar, and you just see her sort of her body and her head fall from the wall.
Yeah,
and
Grey Worm can't even look. He just Dany saw it. Dany watched it, but this hard character that is Grey Worm just.
I was half expecting him just to fucking scream, like
or throw a spear or javelin.
You could see it boiling up in him, you know.
Yeah.
But I guess that's years of discipline and everything. You know, you wouldn't make one of them scream unsullied. So then Dany's reaction, you can just, she is pissed. She is angry. I was going, Dany, you better fucking burn this whole place down. Like I was so in that moment of just her reaction.
No. Cersei knew what she was fucking doing.
I was like, Cersei, you're gonna get it, bitch. You are gonna get it.
She's just like, oh, this is a button, is it? Well,
push.
Cersei did everything that she did this episode to make Dany look the villain, and she found the winning combination. Yeah, Dany. Emilia Clarke's face when this happens, just heartbreak and fury.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the fact, as I said, the fact that Missandei died in chains again.
I really hope that fury is directed specifically at, the
castle? The Red Kid?
Yeah, not all the innocents. Like, please, don't go mad, please.
Yeah.
Yes, be angry, be fucking, like, we need to take that bitch out.
Yeah.
But focus on her. You can't just wipe everyone out, because if she even tries to do that, I think Jon is going to have to back off and be like, hey, that you can't do that.
Jon would have to kill her.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the only option. So it was, I thought it was a little boring here and there, had its slow points, but it really did feel like earlier seasons with the plotting and the scheming. There was great acting all around. I'm glad that Brienne's character got to stretch her legs a little bit more. Instead of the loyal servant, she's, got to show more emotion. We got to see some reunions, some goodbyes, secrets were dropped, and there is a lot of scheming. I don't know how they're going to fit it in the next 2 episodes. It's like only 4 hours or half an hour, 3 hours and a half left of show. Like, what's going to happen?
It feels like every episode is jam-packed, but it also feels like this season is so short. Like, I don't know how to feel about it.
It's like, how are you going to wrap all these plot lines?
Yeah, I really don't. I don't know how to feel about the pacing of it.
Yeah. I reckon they should have went back to 10 episodes for this final season. Because, you know, it was, like I said, it was like $15 million an episode.
Yeah. I mean, in a way, these are moments that we've been building towards.
Yeah.
So you're just like, yeah, give it to me. Give me everything that I've been waiting for.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it just feels like overcrowded but short.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, some of the moments don't have time to breathe because we're just jumping from, like, the Starks thing. You've just gone from that to this other thing, and then we're jumping again. And it's like, can we just take stock for a moment? Can we rest our soldiers for another week? All right. Thank you very much to listening to this podcast, Newbies in the Fandom, with me, Rachael, and
Moya.
We love to review all the biggest franchises there are in pop culture on the small screen and the big screen. Please like, subscribe, or comment to this channel, and listen out for our other podcasts of other TV shows. At the current moment, we are just doing Game of Thrones and the 100. So subscribe to this channel, get notifications so you know when our videos are up. And yeah, thanks for listening.
Bye.